Good evening, folks, and welcome aboard another live production of Canadian E-Motorsports Network Action, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue here on iRacing. It's the NASCAR Series Season 5, back in action for round 11 of 20. We're in the good old, as they call it, the volunteer state, known as Tennessee, about 40 minutes or so east of Music City, known as Nashville. At the Nashville Superspeedway, it is the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 at Nashville Superspeedway. It's our first ever race in Canadian E-Motorsports Network history in the state of Tennessee. Jordy, if you can back me up as a historian, that is correct?
I mean, Bristol might like a word.
Okay, so first time at the track.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, indeed, the first time in series history that we're going to Nashville Superspeedway. We'll call it a bigger track in Tennessee. How about that? So that fixes that little awkward moment there. But anyways, on the call here tonight, you just heard the second voice in there as well. It is, of course, Regan McCauley you're hearing right now from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. On the other side, he's been here since the very beginning. It is Jordy Caraher from Alberta, Canada. I got that correct, at least.
Yes.
Anyways, here we are visually. Welcome to the broadcast.
I had to, man. It's a big deal.
Yes.
It's a big deal. So congratulations.
I graduated from the place that began this whole thing.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Yes, indeed. Journalism graduate, just like this guy was a while back, so I'm following in your footsteps, of course. But anyways, Jordy, welcome back to another night here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, again at Nashville Superspeedway for the first time in network and series history. But before we get into all that action, of course, we have to talk about the quite the thrilling and dramatic race that we saw back last week at the Iowa Speedway, the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 175. Our first time at Iowa since 2022, I believe it was. We only had run there twice there in 2021 and 2022. Took a bit of a break there in 2023 in our transition to iRacing again because we were trying to kind of keep away from the short tracks just for the time being, besides that one, of course. But Iowa joining the schedule for this season, 2024, as round 10 of 22. And look no further, with 6 different winners through 9 rounds, we went out to find out if we would get 7 different winners through 10 rounds. And what do you know? We do end up getting another different winner for the 1, 2, 3, 4, or that'd be the second race in a row. Yes, still counting there. But we've had a lot of different winners for the past 7, 8 races, 6, 7 races, something like that. But look no further than the number 1 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota, a third-year driver, C.D. Magrum, with the Nordic Aluminum Toyota Camry, going to victory lane for the first time since August of last year at Talladega Superspeedway. It was his first non-Superspeedway win in quite some time, it's particularly in the iRacing era, of course. So, Jordy, looking back at the action that we saw at Iowa Speedway last week, good old short track melee, as per usual. We saw cars getting loose. I mean, we heard from the drivers behind the scenes and what to possibly expect out of the Iowa Speedway with the day-to-night transition, of course. We had a couple late restarts there to add to that as well. A couple drivers facing heartbreak, some drivers that we saw come out of nowhere there towards the end, which we'll get into in the results in a couple moments. But yeah, C.D. Magrum finally getting a long-awaited win. Had been just under a year or so for him, and we've been talking about this whole time. He was clearly the best of the rest for some time, and what was it, 168 points above the playoff cut line going into last week's race. No wins, easily was going to make the playoffs, well, more than likely, if he wasn't going to win. I mean, hey, he got the job done. He can now maybe have a little bit of a monkey off the shoulders, even though he still was decent points-wise, but yeah, point stands.
Yeah, he was, first off, the rest of the series, Iowa, everyone was kind of on the struggle bus a little bit there last week, weren't they? I mean, you kind of elaborated on it. Yeah, just major challenges with the setup, really from start to finish, quite honestly. And I mean, ultimately, a few guys were able to make it work. Might even be a bit of a stretch, but kind of minimize any of the damage that was kind of going on, or minimize any issues that they were having over the course of the evening. So yeah, ultimately CD Mangrum, as you mentioned, finally got the win. He was kind of in that Scott Bailey space from last season where, he was a guy who was just super consistent, but just couldn't find his way into victory lane. Mangrum took care of that a lot faster than Bailey did. But of course, he wound up winning the championship last year. And of course, we're on that Iowa run as well. The last two, or both drivers previously who had won at Iowa, have won the Earl Ross Cups. So time will tell whether CD Mangrum makes it 3 for 3 in this case, but the man's put up a pretty good case so far, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He has. And again, too, like looking at the statistics, not even a stage win up to this point as well, but looking at the overall statistics of him this season with like a 5.9 average start, a 3.5 average finish, which I believe, according to the statistics, that is in fact the best out of anybody in this league. Again, consistency had been there up until Iowa, just wasn't able to get into victory lane just yet, but finally ended up getting the job done. Here are your results from the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 175 powered by Chicken on Tuesday, May 21st. CD Mangrum, of course, getting the win at Iowa Speedway. Also added in 12 extra bonus points, stage points in there as well. Kyle Knoll finishing second after initially qualifying 16th out of 21 drivers. We saw him come out in the third and final stage, which a great strategy call. Much better tires compared to some other guys. Was charging his way up to the front. Was about to go for the lead until a caution came out with Corbin McCauley spinning right in front of him in turn 2. And then on the final couple restarts, unfortunately, just had to get edged out there by CD Mangrum. But man, what a run it was for the number 15 Storm Surge Esports car there. And again, first top 5 finish since North Wilkesboro on April 30th. And it was only his second top 5 finish of the season, third top 10 finish of the year. He's got 4 top 5s within the last 4 races. And then there was a whole stretch before that where his best finish was only 9. So finally, another good run out of him. And again, too, as we'll get into later, being able to get over Charlie Sears once again for that 12th and final playoff spot. And then again, another surprise there on the podium, a little bit under the radar in the past couple races, though. The number 12 veteran Mike Marini with his second straight top 5 finish after finishing 4th at Charlotte Motor Speedway on May 14th. Been a solid season for him, has gone a little bit under the radar himself. Also kind of in the group with somebody like Jose Mercado as well. And then Tom Janikowski down there at the bottom of the top 10. Finally, a top 10 for the number 93 veteran as well. So mostly familiar names there inside that top 10, but a couple other names as well that just have been doing solid as of recently and have gone a little bit under the radar.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at a guy who needed it. Again, we talk about Kyle Knoll being right on the bubble. Mike Marini is a guy who needed that finish as well. Like, he's a guy that has admittedly been had been snake bit a little bit over the last few weeks. Wasn't necessarily feeling the best about his overall performances, but yeah, now he's strung together, a 4th at Charlotte, 3rd at Iowa. Tides may be turning here for the 12. And again, he's right in the middle of that kind of playoff bubble picture. He's got a little bit of a cushion right now, but if he's able to get that confidence back behind the wheel, he's, a guy who can be sneaky fast. So while you talk about guys that, familiar names, maybe unfamiliar positions, again, Mike Marini, if he's able to get that momentum back, I mean, sky's the limit.
And I mean, 22 points above the cut line. I think he's slowly started to fall towards that cut line as the weeks have gone on, but with these recent two, the back-to-back top 5 finishes, that'll certainly help to keep him above the cut line. And again, going back to Janikowski, now 40 points below with 5 races, including tonight, remaining on the regular season. There are also a couple drivers that just had less than desirable results despite starting off the night pretty well. For example, Bryce Tane qualified 8th, was trying to go for another top 10. Unfortunately, just wound up 14th. Not too shabby for the newcomer to the series who just joined us a couple races back. Charlie Sears, man oh man, probably the guy with the biggest heartbreak of them all after winning the pole. Didn't even lead a lap either, but 7 bonus points. He looked like he was going to have maybe a top 5, arguably a podium finish by the end of the night, but then on a late restart, might have been trying a little bit too hard there. Slides up in turn 1 into the number 17 of Corbin McCauley, who again, we saw how chaotic of a race that he has, especially towards the end, but still came home with a top 5. Like literally nothing happened whatsoever. Also, Jordan Kalinian, who qualified 4th and led 55 laps. Internet issues drop him back to a 18th place finish. So again, as we were talking about with that top 10, a couple familiar names, some guys on the radar, and then there's just a couple guys over there, especially Charlie Sears. Man, oh man, I really thought he had it there. Something going.
Yeah, you talk about the heartbreak again. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into what the bubble picture looks like over the course of the evening here. But, I mean, after tonight, there's only the 4 weeks left before we get into the playoffs. So we started talking a couple of weeks ago about literally every point counting. We are very much at or even past that point now. And, yeah, just a bit of an unfortunate break there for Charlie Sears at the end. And you know what? He was on for a good finish up to that point, as you mentioned. But now there's a little bit of work to do. Obviously not an insurmountable gap right now by any means, but we're looking at a bit of a dogfight here between now and the end of the regular season.
Especially with what the next 5 rounds are supposed to be here on the schedule. We'll get into that in just a moment. But again, I was just looking at Charlie Sears' stats too in the past 7 races. 6 of those 7 races, he has qualified 6th or higher, with the other race being at Charlotte where he qualified 8th. But he also has 2 poles within that span. And finish-wise, he only has 2 top 10s. So again, he's had that short-run car. He has been able to do well in time trials. But then when it comes to the actual finish, the luck has just not been there yet for the reigning IndyCar Series champion. So hopefully he'll be able to find some ground here within the next couple of races. Again, there is that momentum. At the start of the races, it's just a matter of getting the car into a solid position by the end of the race and prevailing on strategies, of course. And there's a certain track in particular coming up where we'll see how he's able to run. We'll get into that eventually. But now taking a look here at the driver standings, where again, the weekly graphic that we use, we put it in order of drivers with the most wins, and then everybody else with just 1 win, we kind of put them in order based on where they are in the points. So 7 spots taken for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs so far. Only 5 remaining. There's a couple guys up towards the front there that so far it seems like they should be okay within the next 5 rounds. Again, complete catastrophe could happen to any one of them, though. You never know what could happen here within the Canadian Motorsports Network NASCAR series, knowing the driver parity that we've had through 10 rounds so far. As we were talking about, Kyle Noll only 6 points above Charlie Sears at the cut line. As you said, Jordy, most certainly is going to be a dogfight moving forward. But just man, oh man, like, just looking at that playoff picture and, like, let's say the playoffs started right now, and just knowing the schedule that we have coming up, which quite frankly, I'm just going to show it right now just to show how chaotic of a month of June that we have coming up. And then you look at how chaotic the playoff schedule is. Like, geez.
I mean, whoever comes out on top, it goes without saying they're going to earn it. Like, tonight's kind of, well, it is the official halfway point of our 22 race schedule. Yes. But we're like, it's crazy to see, again, the consistency throughout the field so far. Like, unpredictability, I guess, is probably the biggest thing. It's not like where people are just still adjusting to the iRacing side of things. Everyone's here and everyone's in, and everyone's got a shot.
Absolutely. No better way to end off the month of May than with a race in the Volunteer State nearby Music City at the Nashville Superspeedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. And I didn't show it here at first, but I might as well just quickly show it here, the quote-unquote rookie point standings. Again, that the term there is it can be interpreted in many different ways, but just for some of the newcomers to the series, of course, Jordan Kalinian still leading the points by 24 over Adam Wilson. Wilson once again getting a best finish out of all the newcomers in fourth. Again, still one win, only one win on the season, but man, oh man, has the Tornado Alley Racing newcomer ever been consistent this season. He'll look to continue that onward, and it's looking like so far with some of these speeds going on in the qualifying session that just came to an end, he is, I can confirm he is up towards the top. I won't specify the position. Not a couple unsurprising names up there. I will note that Jarrett Ireland is officially back after taking a couple weeks off here for the NASCAR series. So the driver already with a win and a playoff spot secured is finally back, and qualifying has officially come to an end here in Nashville Superspeedway. 22 competitors will participate in tonight's first annual GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 at the 1.33 mile, 2.14 kilometer Tri-Oval Intermediate Speedway. Opened in 2001, closed in 2012 due to declining attendance and a financial situation there. NASCAR then surprised everybody by announcing a reopening of the track in 2020, reopened in 2021. It's hosted NASCAR racing ever since. It's actually going to be, we're going to see a return of IndyCar racing in real life this year as well. 25,000 plus people capacity. This track is known for fast speeds, having a concrete surface, and judging by what we've heard from drivers behind the scenes, it sounded like as we start off here in the daytime, we're going to get some tight racing, especially through the corners. It's been said, if you don't enter the corners well, you might be in big trouble. As the night goes on, however, and the sun starts to dip, cars might start to get a little bit looser. I would personally speculate maybe on corner exits especially, but Jordy, what do you say we should overall expect in tonight's race?
Well, I mean, you think of concrete surfaces, you think of Dover first, and I mean, everyone was afraid of how that one was going to go, and admittedly, it turned into a race that kind of, well, not even kind of, it really exceeded expectations. So
yes,
I think, it's totally fair to go in with a positive mindset here tonight, and yeah, obviously a little bit more room to operate than we had at Dover, but yeah, I don't think we'll have any issues with having competitive racing all the way through the field.
Indeed. So with all that being said, let's get down to the pit lane here, or at least I'll get into race control and send these guys a quick message to get these engines fired up, and then we'll see them roll off pit road to get underway with the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 at Nashville Superspeedway. It's round 11 of 22 coming up next. Jordy, you heard it there. I meant to say welcome to Music City, yeehaw. But anyways, we move forward.
Yep.
Anyways, it's time to show you the starting grid for tonight's race here at Nashville Superspeedway, starting on the front row, of course, where we begin with the driver who got his first win of the season last week, looks to go back-to-back here. it's the number 1 Toyota for Tornado Alley Racing. CD Magram comes from Atlanta, Georgia. Alongside him, he's shown fast speeds here tonight at the Nashville Superspeedway, looking to get his first win in quite some time here. The number 17 Kawasaki and Bulger Motorsports Chevrolet of Cobra McCauley comes from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. On row 2, where we have the number 21 Toyota of Adam Wilson for Tornado Alley Racing from Laurel, Delaware. Alongside him, it's the number 0 Toyota of Jordan Kalinian from Salisbury, North Carolina.
All right, and rounding out the top 5, and a huge welcome back to the number 13 Chevy of Jared Ireland out of Eudora, Kansas. Again, winner back at Kansas a while back, but yeah, it's been a bit of a 3-week sabbatical for him. He's back, and he'll have company on the outside in the form of the 499 E-Motorsports Chevy, the number 32 of Charlie Sears. The Charlottesville, Virginia native will start 6th. Moving on to row 4. And starting in 7th is the number 7 519E Racing Chevy of Andy Hurdle out of Dayton, Ohio. Of course, winner at Charlotte a couple of weeks ago, so he's locked in. Another guy who performed well at Charlotte, looking for a bounce back after Iowa, the number 9 Toyota of Jason Heaney out of Altoona, Wisconsin. He starts 8th.
Rounding at the top 10, we have a pair of newcomers. It's the number 22 Chevrolet of Bryce Fontaine for Bryce and Jim Motorsports from Laverne, Tennessee. We got a homestay driver right there. And then the number 4 Chevrolet of Mason Tomlinson from Eudora, Kansas will start 10th. Just outside the top 10 in row 6, where we have the number 33 Toyota of Trevor Binns for Koopas Racing from Winter Haven, Florida. Alongside him, it's the number 31 of William Kern for 585 E-Motorsports, a teammate of Bryce Fontaine. He's from Dansville, New York.
All right, on to row 7, and we've got the number 10 519E Racing Chevy out of London, Ontario, driven by Jason Butler. He starts 13th. And he's got another Ontario native on his outside, the number 77 of Hunter Young, driving for, I guess, an offshoot of GTR. His Ford will start 14th. And moving on to row 8, starting in 15th, fittingly the number 15, Storm Surge Motorsports Toyota of Kyle Knoll out of Wendell, North Carolina. On his outside, starting 16th, will be the number 41 GTR Ford of Jose Mercado out of Kissimmee, Florida.
And to round out the rest of the field here, we're on row 9, starting 17th. We have the number 12 Toyota from Thunder Bay, Ontario. It is Mike Marini looking to hopefully go for 3 straight top 5 finishes, maybe a 2nd straight podium. Alongside him is the 2-time winner this season, the number 97 Tornado Alley Racing Toyota from Asheville, North Carolina. It is Ty Higginbottom looking for his 3rd win of the season. Rounding at the top 20 is the number... No, that's okay. It's number 16 Chevrolet of Ryan O'Toole from Portland, Oregon. Alongside him, indeed, rounding at the top 20, there we go, is the number 93 Chevrolet of Tom Janikowski from Appleton, Wisconsin. Janikowski looking to go for 2 top 10 finishes in a row after finally claiming a long-awaited one last week at Iowa. And then moving on now, we have Darcy Ford, the number 64 519E Racing Chevrolet, row 11. Marcolin, the number 80 Koopas Racing Toyota will start row 11. And with all that being said, the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 is underway.
All right, let's just see how long it takes for Nashville to turn into Smashville. Am I right? Oh, man, I called it.
Already we got a car in the wall. That's Charlie Sears.
And I think Corbin McCauley went into the wall first.
So a bit of a chain reaction of stuff going on there down the backstretch on lap 1.
I was joking about turning it into Smashville, but I must have spoken it into existence here.
I am hearing some stuff. Is the 17 just not off to a good start?
Yeah, just dropping like a lead anchor here. Yeah, oh boy.
Ugh.
Yeah, don't know about that one.
So the number 17 heads to pit road in a very awkward manner right there. Meanwhile, up front, it's the number 1 of CD Magram leading the way, and I believe, what is it, the Memorial Day honorary scheme?
That certainly checks out, because, of course, that was celebrated yesterday within the good old US of A, as we see Charlie Sears also in pit lane. So that's, what, 2 of the top 6 afflicted by early issues.
So we'll get a very, very quick replay here of the start, which we barely caught. Macaulay on the high side there on row 1. See Sears back there fighting Andy Hurdle for, looks to be 6th.
Yeah, it looks like Hurdle probably got a bit of a decent jump. He started in 7th, and yeah, there's Macaulay up high.
Oh, Wilson actually had an issue there too.
Just saved it.
Man.
Yeah, bit of a rough go to say the very least. Yeah, just loose out of 2.
Sears just kind of had nowhere to go there.
Yeah, so we'll see how this one ultimately works out.
So a lot of separation after that chain of reaction of chaos there on lap 1 of 150, of course. Now we'll check into the race analysis. 150 laps, 200 miles, or I suppose the track info might say otherwise. 195 miles apparently is the race length, but anyways. Stages 1 and 2 are 45 laps each. Final stage will be 60 laps. Pit road speed is at 45 miles per hour. Fuel window expect to be around 30 to 35 laps or so. So we most certainly will be seeing cars taking green flag pit windows here in tonight's event. So that'll certainly play a factor in how the night goes.
Yeah, but look who's benefited from the early chaos here. And in a massive way, I might add.
So Jordan Kalinian has taken the race lead right there by almost over a second by the time we talk about it. And look at Jared Ireland charging his way up to the front now. Magram's starting to fall back a little bit. 1 and 13 side by side into turns 3 and 4. How about Bryce Fontaine up to 4th?
Hey, the home state driver trying to make a mark here. Why not go for it?
So 8 laps into this one, now on lap 9 of the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200. Jason Heaney in 5th, starting to catch up in his number 9 Cooper's Racing Toyota.
Yeah, and after he had his turnaround at Charlotte, of course, things kind of went backwards for him. Is that Macaulay back in pit lane? We wondered about the pit entry. As much as we like to joke about it, I think it was a valid question.
Am I fair to speculate? Has the speeding woes continued, or is it a damage thing? What happened? Oh, well, the car is just screwed, man.
Okay, so you would have seen that update before I did. Yeah, I mean, when you're trying to turn in one direction and you report that the car will not turn, that tends to be problematic, folks.
I mean, we saw the hit the number 17 took to the outside wall there off of 2 on the first lap. And Charlie Sears, again, is also in his... He's still stuck in his box now, 9 laps down. Macaulay at 6, so...
I mean, that's effectively curtains for both of them in terms of, you know, a significant result here tonight, at least in the early going. Almost have to count on more chaos.
I mean, we saw Justin Belmonte last week go through some of that himself, but he still stuck it out throughout the race to get back in it despite being many laps down, but then unfortunately just has to get involved in a crash again later on in the race when he comes back, and he has to go right back to his box. So we'll see if the 17, maybe by some miracle, we'll be able to find his way back into this, even if it is many laps down. But if not, man, oh man, just very tragic for the number 17. And same for the number 32. Again, yet another race where he qualifies high, but then just another potential result where it's just nothing going his way. And that's potentially catastrophic here, knowing Kyle Noll's still going here looking for a top 10 stage 1 results here, at least to start off in tonight's event.
Yeah, if Noel's able to put together a good finish here and a couple of good stages, like, that is going to create, you know, a significant amount of room. But hey, Jason Heaney's lurking. He could still make things interesting, and he's got to climb back up again. A bit of misfortune at Iowa last week, and you know he'll be looking to make amends for that, knowing how close he'd gotten to the playoff picture with his strong result in Charlotte. And again, this is a track where it seems like, you know, it's just going to be a matter of keeping it under control as much as anything else.
So Kalinian still holding a decent lead now, but just over 2 seconds over Jared Ireland. Bryce Fontaine in third. Jason Heaney has moved up to fourth if we go back to the qualifying results here. Heaney's moved up from 8th to 4th. William Kern has moved up from 12th to 5th, so that's another guy who has impressed so far here in tonight's race, 15 laps in. Trevor Binns has gone from 11th to 6th in quite the bright number 33 blue, red, and white Mobil 1 Toyota. Mason Tomlinson in 8th, still sticking inside the top 10 after qualifying in 10th. C.D. Magram started on the pole, has fallen all the way back to 10th.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a strange one. I wonder if maybe this is, like, it would seem weird to call it preservation for a little bit further down the road. I mean, we're looking at a green flag pit stop in each stage regardless, or at least that's what the fuel window is telling us. So
yes,
I wonder if it's a management game would feel a little bit strange, but if there's a guy who kind of knows how to find his way toward the head of the field, C.D. Mangram's been that guy. So I think it's a little bit too early to suggest that he's out of it by any stretch of the imagination.
Jason Butler trying to get ahead of Magram on the high side, his number 10. Interstellar Chevrolet, I believe that's what I read on the car there, but Magram clears the way to maintain 9th. Battle for third still going on between the 22 and 9. 31 trying to get involved in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, how about that? The teammates Fontaine and Kern, 3 and 5. Decent start here for the lads.
And Fontaine trying to make his home state of Tennessee proud here in Lebannon at the Nashville Superspeedway for the network's first ever race run here. Towards the back of the field, Ryan O'Toole getting past Hunter Young for 17th by the looks of it. Adam Wilson still in this one. Charlie Sears back on track now, 11 laps down. McCauley's out there as well at 8 laps down. So still going in this one, but has a lot of ground to gain. And again, too, with how hard of a hit he took and what was said there when he had to come back to pit road. Again, it'll just be a matter of patience to see what he'll end up getting as the night goes on.
Yeah, no kidding. And yeah, just looking at, you know, again, field of 22 tonight, obviously, you know, we're going to have some updates. Justin Belmonte's going to be the guy probably on the bubble by the end of tonight, since he's one of the 3 drivers not here.
Indeed so. So out of 23 or 24 drivers that we've had mostly show up for these races recently, the number 6 is one of the notable absences.
Yeah, currently 10th in the overall standings. He was 29 up on 13th place Charlie Sears going into tonight, as we see, early pit stops.
So Kyle Noll already came in, 9-second pit stop. Andy Hurdle has now made his way in. So
All
just
right, yeah.
quickly checking
Splitting
here
the
on
stage
Noel.
in half.
I believe because it was just a 9-second stop, it looks like Noel went for just the right sides and fuel. And then meanwhile for Andy Hurdle, he's going for a full fresh set of Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
Yes, we've gotten away from the chicken oil-based fuel or whatever we called it from last week. Back to the traditional stuff, and we'll see if the cars run a little bit better. Maybe that was the problem.
Indeed so, as Darcy Ford has now made his way inside the top 10, up to 9th. Butler falls back to 10th.
Nice run from Ford there. Again, started on the back row, 21st.
Really good run so far for the number 64 Piping Kettle Soup Co. Chevrolet. Now the best of the rest, considering Magram held that title for quite some time. And then now Ford takes it in terms of drivers that still have not won a race yet this season. He's had many bright moments so far, but still hasn't been able to find the luck yet for what would be his first win in a very long time.
Indeed so. I mean, you go through the standings, and quite honestly, he's made a lot of his progress in the stages, to be quite honest. His best finish, if I do the math correctly, is a 5th at Dover. But just kind of running on the back end of the top 10 for a majority of the season to this point. So a lot of 9th or 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in that ballpark. But again, doing the damage in the stages, and it shows just how valuable all those little competitions within the competition, or race within a race, I guess is the better term, shows how important all of that is.
It's been a very much of a roller coaster season for him so far, but certainly better than what we saw out of him in his transition to iRacing last year. Of course, a couple more cars there to pit road. That'd be Jose Mercado and Ty Higginbottom. But you just hear the results of Ford this season, like 13th, 9th, 13th, 6th, 5th, 10th, 9th, 13th, 10th. Like, he's just been like that screams roller coaster right there. But it also screams too, the improvements have been absolutely crazy compared to what we saw back in season 4 out of the 2021 champions. So again, the improvements are there. It's just the consistency could use a bit more for sure, especially with the playoffs quickly approaching. Still well above the playoff cut line, but he'd still want to make sure he gets some good points and some good finishes so that nothing catastrophic comes down to the regular season finale at Rockingham Speedway at the end of the next month. I believe June 25th will be the date for that. But within the last 5 races too, he's qualified inside the top 5. So again, the good runs have been there. It's just, it's up and down. Could use a little bit more straight lining.
It could, absolutely. And I mean, if he's able to pair that with the stage results that he's had over the course of the year, he's I mean, we have him 8th overall right now. Yeah, I could definitely see him getting to the round of 8, maybe stealing a championship 4 spot if he's able to find the form that he had, especially in the first 2 seasons. We'll see just how far the iRacing evolution comes along for him as we see Trevor Binns in pit lane.
Yeah, so there were a couple cars down pit lane as we were talking there. A lot of drivers going for just fuel. Now that seems to be the trend.
Well, yeah, we're about 2/3 of the way through the stage now, so you get a sense of what the mileage is like. Just a little splash and dash, and off you go.
Jordan Kalinian, the leader, comes to pit road.
Yeah, it seems like we've had kind of the lion's share of the field in so far. Kind of getting right into that pit window that we were looking at.
There's your pole sitter, C.D. Manger, making his way down. Tom Janikowski, Mason Tomlinson here on lap 33 of 150, approaching 10 laps to go in the first stage of the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200.
Yeah, I'd say we're down to, well, I mean, no, Kalinian's been, and we said that. Just the top 5 left to pit?
That'd be correct.
All right, my eyes don't deceive me then.
And that'd be the number 31 Chevrolet of William Kern now to the race lead.
Yeah, and he'll be looking for a bounce back. Iowa, he admitted, was not a track he got a whole lot of practice on ahead of time, so he was a stage 1 casualty in that one, just bowed out, but yeah, vowed to be ready to go next week for Nashville, and yeah, here he is, fighting his way to the top of the field. Yeah, pit strategies are still in play, but at the same time, you know what? He's there and he's hanging on.
Darcy Ford down pit road. He decides to go for just fuel as Jason Butler cut in pretty close there ahead of him. Just fuel for the number 10.
I mean, at this point, 10 laps left, 9 laps left in the stage. Seems fair to me if you're able to hang on.
William Kern now in his box. Looks like he's going to go for just fuel as well. So Adam Wilson now makes it down. So Hunter Young is the only driver remaining to still yet make a pit stop.
And while we're talking of boxes here, let's take a look at the chat box of YouTube where we find Dart/IndyCar Series driver Jonathan Swainson checking in. Good to see you, Johnny.
Indeed so. Love to have former drivers, alumni come in here and have some fun here, interact with us, still keeping in touch.
Yeah, along with noted Mangrum fan Mark Flott there as well. Obviously, he was excited about the number 1 taking position 1 last week to, again, ultimately solidify himself in the playoffs, just further locking himself in and establishing himself as a serious contender going into this year's Earl Ross Cup playoffs.
Absolutely so. So with everybody now cycling, everybody cycled through that first green flag pit window. Jordan Kalinian with the race lead by about almost 5 seconds there ahead of Jared Ireland. Again, number 13, not in first place, but I mean, hey, for just the first stage here, at least so far, that's a hell of a return.
It is, and I mean, you have to think that with him having been gone that long, like, you would have to think the 13 wants to make a statement, because if he didn't have that victory, if we were looking at the overall points, he'd be well outside the top 12. So that's what has him there right now, and he'll be looking to, I mean, the win locks him in, but there's something about just being able to ultimately further justify that place, if you get what I'm getting at.
Indeed so. So again, yeah, the number 13 Boot Hill Chevrolet hasn't been here for, I want to estimate maybe 4 races-ish now. But now
I think it was 3.
3 it was. Okay, 3. So
yeah.
Close enough. But yeah, with already a win on the season, playoff spot locked in, not too much to worry about, although again, you still certainly want to make sure you get some extra, those stage points and those playoff points to still have an advantage over other guys going into what is no doubt going to be the best playoffs that we've ever had here in the Canadian E-Motorsports network, especially with this driver parity that we've had through 10 rounds so far with the 7 different winners, Ireland, of course, being one of them. And we know someone like Jared Ireland, too, is we know how strategic he can be on some of the bigger tracks. Like we've seen in the past, like Kansas, for example, where he's won multiple times. And then somewhere here like Nashville Superspeedway, like, again, trying to make a statement. It's no surprise whatsoever.
Yeah, no kidding. And again, as I say, he drives with a lot of pride as well. And
yes.
You know, he's a guy that's, you know, as I said, being gone for a little bit, I would imagine the itch was kind of there to get back at it for him. I know it would be if I was in that situation. But, yeah, we'll have to see how Ireland responds here. And, I mean, ultimately, he's making good so far. We'll have to see how it goes. Still a long way to go.
Woo! Some close racing here now with 3 laps to go in the first stage. Will Kern, CD Magram going at it for 5th place. One of these drivers looking to gain that extra stage point. Man.
Yeah, and while we were chatting about Jared Ireland, I noticed Corbin McCauley coming out of pit lane for the 3rd time. So continued issues, it would appear, for that number 17.
But the determination to at least try to finish that car if he can. I mean, knowing him, if he can get that car to the checkered flag in kind of one piece, quote unquote, then that'd be one hell of a storyline to see here. Again, already has 2 wins on the season, well on his way into the playoffs, as many extra points. But still, the results have been very up and down for a guy that we saw absolutely dominate last season, winning like what was almost half the season or something like that.
Yeah, but that's also a byproduct of the field getting better and that gap really narrowing. Speaking of gaps, yikes, it was getting a little tight there.
Yeah, and it is the white flag for stage 1 with Jordan Kalinian leading the way by about 4.5 seconds here, as they're really racing hard back here for the 8th position. But coming off the final corner, stage checker flag, Jordan Kalinian. With Jared Ireland 2nd. Andy Hurdle barely beats Kyle Knoll for 4th. CD Magram will take 5th. Kern 6th. Fontaine 7th. Higginbottom will get in front of Ford for 8th. And then 9th to the 64. And then... Okay, yeah, the caution is out. I wasn't seeing caution lights, but I guess being a bigger track, sure.
Yeah, Mercado grabbing 10th there. That one last point is, for Kalinian, that is stage win number 8 of the season.
Yes, sir. He's been a stage dominator here in Season 5 of the Canadian Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue.
And speaking of guys named Kyle, that's another important 7 points for Kyle Knoll with that 4th place finish in the stage.
And so now everybody, a lot of cars here making their way down pit road under this stage caution on lap 47 of 150. Of course, yes, Kalinian, 8th stage win of the season, well ahead of other drivers there for the lead with, Corbin McCauley would be in 2nd there at 6, and then there's a couple of guys at 3, 2, and then 1. CD Magram, again, had gotten the pole. That was his first pole of the season.
Yeah, and a little bit of live mathing between stages here. That bubble gap has grown to 13 now between Kyle Knoll and Charlie Sears for the final playoff spot. Of course, 7 for Knoll with that 4th place finish that I was talking about a moment ago. That certainly doesn't hurt his cause.
Looks like pretty much everybody went for 4 tires and fuel under that stage caution there. Charlie Sears heads back to pit road. At least from earlier. At least from earlier, not from just now, because again, lap cars have to wait. And then there's McCauley following in behind.
Yep, both again caught up in lap 1 incidents that kind of torpedoed their night, it has to be said.
Indeed so. And yeah, again, as you were talking about with Kyle Knoll there for that 12th and final playoff spot, yeah, 13. It was 6 points going in. Now it's at 13.
Yeah, I mean, more than doubled that gap. Like, it's, again, every point matters. How many times have we said that already? And again, it's just going to be magnified that much more with every passing stage, every passing race. So to see things widening up a little bit, like, yeah, it gives Kyle Knoll a bit of breathing room for now, but he cannot take his foot off the gas.
Indeed so, being back there in third. So he's going to have a good restart here for the beginning of stage 2. Kalinian leading the way, Andy Hurdle in second, Kern is fourth, Magram's fifth. And
I wonder, was Jared Ireland a bit of a bad boy in pit lane? Because he was second in stage 1. Now he's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, 22.8 second pit stop.
Yeah, I wonder if there was, well, obviously something extra happened there. We didn't see anything, like any form of contact really, that would have thrown him off. But yeah, well, I mean, we saw him drive through the field in Kansas to pick up that win. If he wants a good finish, it looks like he's going to have to do it again.
Now, kind of following up that little surprise that you had there at the very start of the broadcast, I might as well get interactive here myself. Cheers.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, I wish I had mine. Well, I mean, there.
That works.
Not the same, but a cheers all the same.
So we'll be restarting here on lap 51 of 150. If the math checks out, then that'll be 100 laps to go here in the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 at Nashville Superspeedway. So far, a couple storylines here in round 11 of 22, but no doubt we're going to get plenty more as this race goes on and the sun continues to set. Maybe see the cars get a little more loose as the night goes on, as was speculated, of course, behind the scenes. But here we go. Green flag waving, stage 2 underway.
Yeah, and usually we're accustomed to Jordan Kalinian getting that huge jump off of the restarts. Not so much this time around, or at least it's taking a little bit longer to develop.
So definitely
early aggression from Kyle Knoll.
Not near as chaotic of a restart there to an extent. Well, actually, the start wasn't a restart, but still, anyways.
You say that, we had 3 wide at the bottom of the screen.
Whoa, Ty Higginbottom had a bit of a loose moment there going through turns 1 and 2. He keeps his car going.
Yeah, and it seems like, and I think we're probably going to be expecting a little bit more of that kind of hanging on nature. And again, the fact that this is a new track, I'm not necessarily surprised to see Jordan Kalinian controlling this one the way he has. Like, your kind of default would be to look at I-ratings in terms of, you know, overall skill and competency, and, you know, that includes the ability to learn tracks. And Jordan Kalinian, again, what was it, almost a 5-second stage victory? I think he's got a pretty good handle on this one so far.
Absolutely he does. But Kalinian, about 6/10 or so there ahead of Kyle Knoll for the lead. William Kern hanging on to third so far. Magram's still up front in fourth, but we saw that fall off he had during stage 1. Was still able to come around and get a good stage 1 finish anyways.
Yeah, and again, in the case of CD Mangrove, I wouldn't be surprised if he is playing a little bit of a long game. There again, it felt maybe a little bit premature to start, but I did say in stage 1, it also felt early to write him off. So yes, not entirely surprised to see him kind of stabilize things a bit.
We see the number 17 and 32 within the pack here, still racing on, although 17's 8 laps down, the 32 at 10 laps down. So, again, lots of ground to gain here, but still great to see them on the track after the issues we had there on lap 1.
Yeah, and I mean, in the case of Charlie Sears, he didn't really have a choice but to stay out. So, like, kudos to him for trying to figure it out. Again, this is not kind of matter of survival, but we're getting to the point where you can have those discussions. Now, Corbin McCauley obviously very, very much safe, although his number 1 seed could be under threat after tonight. But yeah, very different scenarios between the 17 and 32 after their lap 1 incidents.
Jared Ireland, I believe, got into the outside wall there the last time we came off of 4. He's back in the position of his car number. He's trying to make his way back up after, I would speculate, either something to do with some unforeseen damage or maybe there was a speeding penalty involved.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting follow-up for afterward to see what happened there. Because, again, P2 in stage 1. But, yeah, nowhere to be found, really, on the restart. He's made up 3 positions, but he's still got a bit of a climb here in the, Volunteer State, Rocky Top, whatever you want to call it.
Music City?
I mean, you said it's 40 minutes outside, so how much do we want to stretch it?
I digress. Maybe you could argue, though, that it's better off that we're here than at whatever abomination the Nashville street course is.
Yeah, that's... I mean... We'll haven't heard enough time with the Chicago street course in the round of 8.
I was just going to say.
I think adding the Nashville street course would be just... If guys could figure out ways to punch us through the computer screens, they probably would.
Well, I mean, hey, we're going international next week.
Yeah, that is going to be a fun set of circumstances as well.
Like we got tonight.
First time in Europe.
Yeah. We're going to Europe for the first time, then we go to a triangle, and then we're going to the Brickyard, and then we're ending off the regular season at what might be the most
we haven't been at.
Yeah, the most unfamiliar track imaginable.
Yeah, that's we were not nice to these guys in the scheduling, I would suggest.
Yeah, just I mean, you have quote unquote familiar tracks in the playoffs, quote unquote.
Yes. But I mean, I think you have as much unpredictability as we've ever had in the field, whether it's familiar track or not. So yeah, we're gonna kind of light things up here once we get to playoff time.
Yeah, it's a good old love and hate relationship, although particularly for the drivers. But I'd say on our end, I think it's probably more love.
Without question.
We're the ones watching the chaos. These guys are behind the wheel, so it's like hee.
Yep. Yeah, not like full-on masochists, but definitely enjoying them trying to navigate the circumstances.
Lap 64 of 150 here in the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200. Jordan Kalinin has been the class of the field here so far. 2 seconds ahead of Kyle Knoll, who looks to keep ahead of the 31 of Will Kern, who again trying to find a resurgence after not practicing enough, in his words, back at Iowa last week. But then coming around here to Nashville Superspeedway, looks to be a different story, as Darcy Ford might have had a bit of a moment there coming off of 2. He slides in behind Heaney for the 6th position, so still running well. Jason Heaney looking to make a good run after, again, as we were talking about at Charlotte, where he got that third stage win, and then still coming home again with a top 5 finish. Had the potential there for even a winning car, but of course late strategies and all that just didn't pay perfectly in his favors. And then what do you know, last week at Iowa, just nothing went his way.
No, I mean, pretty much didn't get out of the blocks, unfortunately for... I mean, arguably that'd be the closest track to Wisconsin. So not a home race, because I know how insulting that would be to a Wisconsinite, and there's a couple of them in the field, so I don't want to get hurt. But yeah, last week, it hurt his chances here a little bit again, especially the fact that we're getting closer and closer to that cutoff. But if he does happen to sneak in with a couple of good performances, again, that stage win, it's got him a playoff point. So it gives him a leg to stand on if he does get to that point. And that could be more than, some of the drivers will be able to say. So, yeah, he could be a sneaky pick, but he's got to perform well this week and the rest of June.
Yeah, still 39 points below the cut line, so ideally a win would do him wonders, but then at the same time, that would really shake up the current playoff picture as it stands again, as we were talking about earlier. Whoa, CD Magarum to pit road.
Whoa! Okay, kind of, well, I don't even want to call it splitting the stage, because it's, 68 or the nice lap that he's in on?
That would be, this is the nice lap.
Okay, so, yeah, 21 laps remaining in the stage, so, yeah, I guess you're still splitting it halfway if you're the one. Again, first in, we'll see what kind of progress he's able to make.
Ooh, a couple more to pit road. One driver seemed to have a little bit of trouble coming in, but they still made it through. That was Mason Tomlinson. And Jared Ireland's also come
I saw the orange. Yeah, the two Eudora boys. Look at that.
So Magarum took right sides in fuel. We'll see what Ireland and Tomlinson decide to do. And as we were talking there earlier, we saw there on the screen William Kern getting past Kyle Knoll for the second position. And I'm going to assume that if, let's say Kern wins tonight, I'm assuming you have to be 20th or higher in points, considering his situation, if he still wants to be, for sure locked into the playoffs.
I mean, there would be a contingency in that case, for sure. And, I mean, that was understood whenever Will joined the series as well. But, yeah, we'll see if that situation comes to fruition for him, or even Bryce Fontaine by extension.
Indeed so, and I mean, we saw William Kern back at Charlotte. And again,
he led in stage 2.
Yes, he led 7 laps. Not the best finish, but still showed off some really, really raw speed and raw talent, which could very well be huge within these next couple of weeks here, leading up to the end of the regular season. And Bryce Fontaine's even been starting to show some progress within recent races with, again, raw speed for himself too. It's just a matter of getting the good results, which again he has gotten within the past couple of races, as Ty Higginbottom and Jose Mercado going for what looks to be just fuel there and there on their pit stops. Ryan O'Toole came down. There's Jason Butler now making his way to his box on lap 73.
Yeah, Mercado and Higginbotham came in together in stage 1 as well, so competing teams, similar strategies, so we'll have to see how it plays out for these two.
Butler's going to take right side tires. Will he go for lefts? Indeed he does. Four fresh tires for the number 10. Jason Heaney's going to follow in behind.
Yeah, and we've saw a couple of different strategies in play in stage 1 as well, because if I recall correctly, Kyle Knoll only took right sides as well, and he wound up 4th. Andy Hurdle takes the full complement of tires and winds up 3rd. So it's just whatever works in terms of finding speed, it would appear.
Heaney went for just right sides on his pit stop. So Kalinian leads the way by 3.5 seconds over Will Kern. Darcy Ford is third. Knowles back there in fourth. We got a big pack going at it here for the fourth position.
Yeah, everybody's, keeping it in line, though. I was going to say, are we all good there, or...
Just fuel, possible penalty, damage on the number 80. That looked odd.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. Again, maybe something to follow up with later.
Ouellette's going to come back out.
Running wild.
Yeah, Ouellette's going to come right out with this 4-car pack here on lap 77. Noel leading the train. Mike Marini comes out of his box. Looks like he went for just fuel with a 6-second stop.
Well, again, now you're getting into 12, 13 laps left in the stage. If you think the tires can hang on, why not save the time? And yeah, you would think as we transition to night, maybe a little bit of a looser setup, but it feels like degradation might not be as big of a deal as we progress into the evening.
Approaching 10 laps to go in the second stage here in Nashville Superspeedway. Kalinian still with that big lead, but how about this? Kern in second, Darcy Ford charging his way to the second position.
Yeah, and I mean, part of that is probably pit stop cycling, but you got to be in it to win it, right? And, Darcy Ford, again, he started on the back row. That should be noted. The fact that he's finding himself in this window here, grabbed a couple of points in stage one. Looking for more as the evening progresses.
Bryce Fontaine and Hunter Young run pit road. I think it's fair to speculate Fontaine might have went for right side tires on that stop because 7.9 seconds. Young went for 5.9.
Yeah, so that's probably just a splash and dash for the 77.
As for the 22, or maybe it was just a long stop. Okay, just fuel for both him and Young.
All right, I mean, we're in Nashville, so Gretchen Wilson will be disappointed to see that they did not, in fact, get all jacked up on that stop.
So Andy Hurdle in his box, Jordan Kalinian, the race leader, comes down. Hurdle looks like he's going for just splash and go. Now with 9 laps to go in this second stage, Jordan Kalinian, there's the 0. Pitting from the lead, Darcy Ford will overtake.
Yeah, just as we saw him overtake Will Kern there not too long ago, but you have to wonder how much longer he's going to be able to hang in.
Eight laps to go, half a second separating the 64 and the 31. Top 7 still have yet to come down. The number 17 makes his way to pit road at 8 laps down. Sears is still on track at 10. Ouellette is 2 laps down. And then everybody else, except for that, again, the top 7, 1 lap down. Trevor Binns is now going to make his way down. Ooh, a bit of a loose end here right there, but he still is able to get in. Hopefully there were no speeding issues there for the number 33 Koopa's Racing Mobile 1 Toyota.
Didn't see any tire smoke, so I think I would imagine he's probably all right. As it looks like Kyle Knowles also in from 4th.
Indeed he is, with 7 laps to go. Binns went for just a splash and go, so did Knoll. Oh, Wilson spins onto pit road.
Yeah, it's not the first time we've seen Adam Wilson encounter something tonight. Lap 1, as a matter of fact. Oh, man, he went full-on drift there.
Still kept it going, though. No harm. No foul.
Yep. Everything going in the right direction.
Looks like Ford went for just a splash and go. Will Kern, on the other hand, is actually going for 4 tires.
Yeah, I wonder if, he's going to opt for track positioning going into stage 3.
That will be very much... That'll be very much something to keep an eye on. Getting here as Kalinian inherits the race lead once again, coming to 5 laps to go in stage 2. Tom Janikowski was second, but he drops down to pit road. C.D. Mangrum and Jason Heaney on the podium in the podium positions. There's Jared Ireland as wow. We're getting a crazy battle here for 5th.
Yeah, just careful
Besides
of
Trevor
bins
Bins.
there. He's able to. They're able to navigate bins, but 5 through 7, solid battle. And don't look now. What were we saying about Jared Ireland driving through the field? He's P4.
Ooh, Ford getting close there with the 97. The 41 will try to take advantage. Are we going to go 3 wide?
I mean, given the 3rd driver there, I would be surprised if we weren't 3 wide.
Ooh, Mercado gets loose a little bit there. Higginbottom will slide by. Oh, man, he got the both of them.
Yeah, because, I mean, he'd fallen back after Mercado tried to grab 5th on the inside. But, just found the opportunity and was able to, leapfrog a couple of positions. And, Higgy up into the top 5. Nice move.
There's a lot of battles going on throughout the top 10 here. Drivers trying to gain a couple extra stage points. Bryce Fontaine holding on to 10th. Just fell back in behind Andy Hurdle. A couple of drivers together there. Back in behind Hunter Young in 11th. But now with 2 laps to go in stage 2, it's all Jordan Kalinian looking to sweep the stages here. C.D. Mangrum 2nd, Jason Heaney in 3rd, so still hanging on for those positions there. Jared Ireland comfortable in 4th.
And a little bit of separation now, 5 through 7, after the rather eventful battle we saw there just a moment ago.
Now again, as we were talking about earlier with Will Kern, of course, going for 4 tires on that green flag pit stop there. He's in 12th. So more than likely we'll end off stage 2 like that. But again, though, because of that stop, we'll have to keep an eye on him in terms of track position, like you said, Jordy, when it comes to the 3rd and final stage. But coming off of turn 4, green checkered flag out for stage 2, Jordan Kalinian. We'll take it. Mangrum 2nd, Heaney 3rd. Jared Ireland's going to come across for 4th. Higginbottom 5th. Ford 6th. Mercado 7th. Tomlinson 8th. Hurdle 9th. Bryce Fontaine rounding out the top 10. There's the caution.
And just clinical here from the 0, which seems like it could be roughly the same amount of chances the field has at this particular point. Yeah, you'd think this was a road course almost the way Kalinian was dominating.
So after 91 of 150 laps, 2 cautions, again, both stage cautions, 86 laps under green, 5 under caution. Again, the iRacing describes Nashville Superspeedway as the sister track of Dover Motor Speedway because, again, the concrete surface. And you were talking earlier in the pre-race show about the expectations going into Dover. Drivers were a little worried about how it would go, and it was fantastic for the first 2 stages. But again, we've had that trend happen before where it's that final stage where things seem to kind of, get a
little hairy.
Yes, exactly. I mean, remember that late battle, Macaulay, Belmonte, and I think Adam Wilson was in there as well. And then we saw what happened with, I think it was 14 laps to go. The 2 leaders getting together for the win, and then Wilson goes on to get his first career victory in the series, of course. And it was just, if people saw it there in the race summary, Will Kern has the fastest lap out of anybody so far. And how about that? He comes out first.
Well, what did we just say about him taking the 4 tires in track position?
Exactly. That's what I'm referring to. He's, again, on fully fresh tires, this guy is fast.
He is. Now, he does have 7 racing laps on those tires now. So eventually he'll fall off and he'll have to, you would think, come in early. And that could make things interesting from a fuel perspective. If he, well, he's got to be able to get that one right, certainly.
That's the thing, too. I did see him pass maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 cars there because of having those 4 tires there at the end of the stage. We saw him pass 1 car for sure. I would hope that maybe he didn't use up the tires too much, maybe use up a tiny bit of fuel too much. So, again, that's what we're going to wait and see, find out here in this third and final stage of the GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 at Nashville Superspeedway. I'm going to look back here at the trends based on what we saw at a qualifying so far. Let's kind of see how up and down some of the drivers here have been tonight. C.D. Bangarang obviously getting the pole. He's still been running consistently inside the top 5. He's currently in 3rd. Corbin McCauley, we know what happened there on lap 1. He's 7 laps down in 21st. Adam Wilson in 3rd. He's been running solidly, although we did see a bit of a mishap there coming onto pit road, but he has shown decent speeds. Jordan Kalinian qualified 4th. He's been the dominator of the race so far with the 2 stage wins, of course. He's now got 9 on the season. Jared Ireland 5th. He's been running up front. Charlie Sears, similar, another issue there with McCauley on lap 1. Andy Hurdle qualified 7th. He is currently 10th. He's been running top 5, mostly top 10. Jason Heaney qualified 8th. He's been running up front. Bryce Fontaine qualifying 9th. We've seen some really good speeds out of him. He's just outside the top 10 right now. And then Mason Tomlinson rounding at the top 10. He's currently 9th, so consistently towards the bottom edge there of the top 10. And then Will Kern again qualifying 12th. He struggled with those in the time trials, but then we've seen him here on the long runs. Man, oh man, could we see, I don't know if I called an upset for the ages, but just something for the ages.
Yeah, he took a bit of a gamble there at the end of stage 2. It is going to put him a little bit off strategy in relation to the rest of the field, and ultimately we will see a bit of a cliff or a plateau there for the 31, I would have to think. But right now it's the right play. Again, the track position was the reward for taking the 4 tires early, but yeah, we'll have to see how he's able to hold on and navigate the final stage of this one, as we're looking at 55 laps of straight up competition.
Indeed so. We'd like to thank the following sponsors for supporting the network: Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, title sponsor of the series, Rampage Coffee Co., Piping Kettle Soup, Fort River Brewing Company, Bangarang Hard Seltzer, Nordic Aluminum, and of course GSGSG Vinyl 3D sponsoring the 200 here, Nashville Superspeedway. Final stage underway.
And Kern got a bit of a better jump than I expected. Yeah, the tires, they still have plenty of life in them. But yeah, I might have expected Kalinian to be right up there with him. But hey, Kern's off to a good start here. Oh boy, sideways.
Jason Heaney was sideways. Going through the corners. Multiple cars are sideways. Ford, Mercado. Everybody's scrambling on the front stretch. Lots of 3 wide, almost 4 wide racing down the tri-oval. I mean, we were talking about
but saving it.
Yeah, scrambles and saves simultaneously.
Oh.
But again, we were talking earlier, Jordy, with the transition to night racing, we're going to see a little bit more loose action going on here in this final stage. Man, oh man,
well,
Jason Heaney.
Yeah, to say the very least, we've hit that transition point.
Will Kern's still maintaining the race lead by about 0.3 or so there over Kalinian. But a lot of jostling back and forth to start the stage. Again, I'd mentioned that trend earlier. It's usually if the first 2 stages go well, it's that final one where drivers start to really take risks, try to take advantage of many things, and we may have seen a tad bit of that to an extent.
Well, I mean, now it's a matter of adapting to the conditions, because clearly, you know, with all the near anarchy we saw, there are drastically different qualities out there, you'd have to think. Man, oh man.
Indy Hurdle making it close with Kyle Knoll through 3 and 4. They touch, still side by side through the tri-oval. That would be for the 9th position. Still.
Oh yeah, there's more.
Still banging on each other.
Yeah, I mean, Bangarang's coming to the party a week early here. They're sponsoring next week in Monza. But yeah, we got some door banging here, and I mean, obviously nothing malicious between those two, but not a single inch given by those two competitors, and we're just at the beginning of this one.
And this is the battle for the lead between Will Kern and Jordan Kalinian. Oh, the 0 slides up the track just a little bit, still able to clear the 31. Jordan Kalinian back to the lead.
And I mean, it felt like that was bound to happen at some point, but I mean, if there's one guy who's had bad luck on some of these kind of quirky tracks, it would be the 0. And obviously we've seen his 2 wins come on road courses so far. And we've kind of talked extensively about, you know, the fact that you would expect the guys with the higher I ratings to acclimate to perhaps unfamiliar tracks a little bit quicker. And now that we see Kalinian in the lead again, it seems like that could bear out. But, you know, it doesn't take much for the night to get ruined, and with the setups decidedly getting looser, yeah, nothing's certain here just yet.
Indeed so, and now with 48 laps to go here in tonight's event, we like to thank TrackCams22.com for providing us with these incredibly professional and outstanding looking broadcast cameras that really emphasize and enhance what we've got going on here in the Canadian E-Motorsports Network and the NASCAR series powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue for Season 5, the second season on iRacing. We'll see if Will Kern is able to keep up here with Kalinian, keep a battle brewing here for the race lead. Jared Ireland also looking to catch up as well. We're all going to do a show don't tell here with the TrackCams22.com. Crank it up. So that was the TrackHams22.com Crank It Up. We appreciate them very much for providing us with these broadcast cameras, of course, here for yet again another season of NASCAR racing within the Canadian E-Motorsports network. And as we were showing there instead of telling, preach to Rick McLean, former instructor at Home College. Jordan Kalinian. So Jordan Kalinian leads the way by about a second and a half or so over Jared Ireland. Ty Higginbottom has moved his way up to third. Will Kern has fallen back to eighth.
Yeah, again, we kind of expected this to happen, kind of telegraphed it with, just sheer tire life as much as anything else. And, it was an admirable run here. We'll have to see how much longer the 31's going to want to stay on that particular set of Goodyear boots. But, yeah, worth the shot. But if he's able to get back in line, maybe he's able to salvage a good finish. But, yeah, just he's trending in the wrong direction at the moment, falling down to 9th as we were talking.
Andy Hurdle, Mason Tomlinson, Andy Hurdle both get by him as we're talking about all that. Kern makes it down the pit road.
Yep, we again kind of telegraphed that one coming, that he would most likely have to pit earlier than everyone else out of sequence. And yeah, this, while he had that run at the head of the field and held on to the lead for a couple of laps before Jordan Kalinian took it back, ultimately long run, worth taking the chance, but not 100% sure if it's going to work out for him.
So
Kyle Nolan.
Yeah, Kyle Nolan makes his way in after Kern went for fresh set right there.
And now Kyle Noel, we've seen him in season 4 especially, we've seen him take some chances on the strategy side of things, but we'll see if he goes full sail here.
He does.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen him take right sides before, but yeah, looks like
that did not play it safe. That did not fully pay. That hasn't fully paid in his favor either, many times.
That's true. Like, for the amount of times it has versus the amount where it's backfired, yeah, probably smarter to take the safer bet. Just widen that gap on the bubble, which after stage 2 did still stand at 13 points. Just, don't take any chances here at this point as we see, a good chunk of the field coming in now.
Big pack coming in. Tomlinson, Hurdle, Mercado, Heaney, Fontaine, Marini, Janikowski all the way towards the back. So yeah, Kern, Noel, and Wilson all took all 4 tires. We'll see what these guys decide to do.
Yeah, 28 laps left. I feel like, you're still in the stage, unless you wind up in a situation like Ty Higginbotham and Darcy Ford did last week, where they didn't have the option to have all 4 tires. But it looks like everyone's going to maintain status quo here.
Pretty much everybody going for a full fresh set of Goodyear tires. But the thing is, too, with that whole pack coming out together, man, oh man, how racy is that going to be?
Yeah, you'd have to think it should be an exciting last 26, 27 laps here. Notably, Jordan Kalinian not in yet as your race leader, unless I'm about to be sorely mistaken. No, I'm not yet. But buying himself a couple extra laps here in stage 3, he'll have that advantage, and we've seen how fast he is already tonight. Yeah, that could be, hot knife through butter if he's able to keep it clean.
Magrin goes for 4.
As I say that.
Yeah, Magrin goes for 4 tires, and I was wondering, we had the camera on Kalinian just for like a second or two there, and then I didn't see him in the background zooming out of turn 4, so just had that feeling he was slowing down to come to pit road and completely ate your comment there wrong. But Kalinian Kalinian's going to go for
the field.
Yeah, Kalinian's going to go for 4 tires. Darcy Ford.
homie just chilling. Unless he went in a little too quickly, perhaps.
Yikes, that's going to be the potential disaster for the number 64, who had again been running up high in the top 5, top 10 for as the night started to progress, but now he's 3 laps down.
Yeah, I don't see any movement there. Yeah, that is well worth some investigation post-race.
And now Ford's coming out there. Jared Ireland, Jason Butler have yet to pit. Hunter Young has now come down. Or actually, now Trevor Binns is now coming down.
Yeah, he'd already been a lap down in the race anyway.
Yeah.
So he'll wind up yet another, I would suspect.
So once Ireland pits, then Kalinian more than likely will be well ahead of him. And there goes the 13.
Yeah. Darn near sent it.
So Kalinian will get back on the lead lap, and we'll see how he'll come back out against Jared Ireland. But again, the 13 is going to have a fresher set, so that could be something to keep an eye on here. If Ireland, we'll see how Ireland comes off the track as Kalinian speeds into turn 3. What's Ireland going to do? He goes for right sides. And we'll see in the background. There's Kalinian.
And Ireland goes for 4. Which I think is really the only move he could have made there.
Yeah, Kalinian last pitted 4 laps ago, and then Will Kernan, who will inherit second, pitted 10 laps ago. C.E. Magram's at 5. There's Adam Wilson behind him as well. So Kalinian ahead by about 2 seconds or so over the 31. So with now 20 laps to go in tonight's race, all the more likely it's going to be, it looks like it's going to be a complete sweep by the number 0. Unless.
Indeed, it's been awfully quiet so far. Unless.
Might be too quiet, that's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, Music City without anything playing? What is going on here?
Wait.
Are we suggesting maybe something went on with? Yeah, he's not up there, is he?
He's back in 13th.
Oh boy. We didn't see anything inherently wrong on the pit stop. Yeah, a little bit of a slide there, though. Now, we were equally perplexed when that happened between stages 1 and 2 during, the caution. But he was able to make his way back. But 19 laps to go. Little less margin for error this time around.
So Kalinian is slowly extending that gap between him and the 31. 2.5 seconds now separating them. C.D. Magram, Adam Wilson, Ty Higginbottom holding together their positions. Higginbottom looks like he is quickly catching up, though, to the 21. So that'll be interesting to see if he'll try to contend for maybe the bottom end of the podium. You go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, if you're Kalinian, you don't want to get, too comfortable, but you also know you have a significant tire advantage over Will Kern going into this final stage of tonight's race. Yeah, Ireland getting a little bit wiggly there again.
Possible ticking time bomb going on somewhere in the field. Again, we haven't had an incident-related caution at all here tonight. But again, it's usually around this time or so that we might start to have something brewing. We saw it back at Dover. And again at Phoenix as well. I mean, remember Phoenix, we didn't, like, we had a bunch of incidents, no cautions, and then go figure, we get one because of a disconnection with like 4 laps to go. So like, again, we've had our trends, but ideally for most of these guys, I think they would love to at least finish this one out without any chaos. And again, to the current, with the time that it is right now, particularly for the Atlantic people, about a minute away from 10:30, might be able to get some good sleep for once after a race.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you polled the fields, like, to a man, each one of them would say, yeah, let's finish this on the track. Let's not, you know, have, say, your green-white checkered finish kind of potentially alter things. Just get it done smoothly, and, yeah, just keep moving forward.
So Jared Ireland made his way past a little bit of chaos going on there between Tomlinson, Marini, and Trevor Binns. The 33 back to being a lap down. Charlie Sears back there still in 22nd and 10 laps down. Macaulay has fallen to 9 laps down in 21st, just trying to finish this one out after the incident on lap 1. Jason Butler, Ryan O'Toole going at it for the 16th position. Darcy Ford's back out on track, 2 laps down in 20th. Man, oh man, that is... what a disastrous result it's looking like for the 64. We saw how fast he was starting to get as the race was going on, but then something happened.
Yeah, again, another interesting post-race follow-up to be sure there. And I mean, I talked earlier about, you know, the roller coaster season and how stage points were kind of bailing him out. Another 7 stage points tonight, and it could be a very similar song and dance here.
So Jordan Kalinian, well over almost 4 seconds ahead of actually C.D. Magram has gotten past Will Kern for the 2nd spot.
And I wonder if this is, again, tire cliff time.
Indeed. What I was going to say there about the number 0 is that he is looking to, again, get his 3rd win of the season. That would be, he would become the driver with the most wins on the season, of course. It would be his 2nd win within the last 4 races, including tonight. And again, too, with the 9 stage wins, the both stage wins here tonight. A couple of poles in recent races as well. This guy has been on apps. Again, though, there was obviously the result back last week at Iowa. But again, though, when the guy's been on fire,
yeah, like there's... how many times did I say it back at Sonoma? There's levels to this. And, I mean, Jordan Kalinian, we said it at Sonoma, that particular race a few weeks back. He put on an absolute clinic there, and yeah, it feels like he's well on his way to doing the same here tonight. Although, as I say, yikes.
Kyle Nolm looks like he may have had an issue there as Bryce Fountain and Jared Ireland take advantage for top 10 spots. Noel falling back to 11th.
Yeah, but in Kyle Noel's case, like, it's just been, he's only had to keep the car clean, and he's, you know, built up a little bit more of a gap on the bubble.
Indeed, and he will once the points come all together when the race here comes to a close, as it looks like Ty Higginbottom trying to get past his Tornado Alley E-Racing teammate for the 4th position, and he will clear the way, and now he'll chase after Will Kern to try to get on the podium now with 7 laps to go. Meanwhile, again, 4.5 seconds ahead, Jordan Kalinian. Remember back at Sonoma, he led the practice session the night before the race. He then led the practice session right before the race. He then won the pole, won both stages, went on to win the race itself. Not exactly the perfect dominance here tonight, but or like around this event, but in terms of tonight, for the race itself, indeed. And there's Higginbottom going at it.
Is what matters.
Yeah, exactly. And here's Higginbottom going at it against Kern for that third position with 6 laps to go.
Let's see if Wilson tries to follow Higginbotham down on that low line eventually if he's close enough.
As I believe Tomlinson just took advantage there of Noel, who falls back to 12th. Kern trying to cross over the 97, now 5 laps to go. Wilson, again, as you said, lurking behind. We'll try to take advantage if something happens. Kern might have had a bit of a slide there. That's going to help the 97. Wilson dives down low to the inside, down the back straightaway. Or at least tries to get close enough there. Kern's still hanging on. Wilson might have had a bit of a bump there from the apron. So all 3 cars clear the way 3rd through 5th. C.D. Mangrum looking comfortable there in the 2nd position, looking to go yet again another week in a row where it be a consecutive top 2 finishes. And then there's this guy.
I was about to say, how about all 3 Tornado Alley guys in the top 5?
Yeah.
Again, Kel Surprise. But, yeah, Jordan Kalinian, he's running an entirely different race here tonight.
So that's going to be 11 races in a row where all 3 Tornado Alley E-Racing drivers will finish inside the top 10.
Assuming everything holds, it got a little tight there between Kern and Wilson, didn't it?
Kern and Wilson are really duking it out now for the 4th position. Kern's still trying to... It looks like he'll be able to hang on for at least a top 5 finish if things go smoothly here, coming to 2 laps to go for the number 0. Kern's still hanging on.
And that's an admirable job, I have to say. Like, we wondered how the strategy was going to work out, but hey, full credit to Will Kern. He was disadvantaged on the tires for this last stint, and yeah, he's finding the best lines, playing more than capable defense, and you know what? That's going to turn into a fantastic result.
And what is certainly looking to be a fantastic result is here for the number 0, Jordan Kalinian, white flag in the first annual GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200. Kalinian looking to sweep the race, earn his 3rd win of the season, and it's looking like the driver of the number 0 Toyota from Salisbury, North Carolina is going to come around turns 3 and 4, eyeing his 3rd win of the season. He's going to get it done here tonight. The Nashville Superspeedway give the win to Jordan Kalinian.
Yeah, it almost felt academic once we saw the gaps that he was putting up in stage 1, didn't it? Like, obviously you still have to race, but on pure form, there was 0 challenge to the 0 once it was all said and done.
And Jared Ireland might have slightly shut us up there when we saw him back in the 13th position. He comes around to finish 6th.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily say that. Like, yeah, there wasn't a ton of time for that to happen. But at the same time, as we're going to see Kalinian attempt a donut here, perhaps, yeah, full credit to Ireland. He did have, you know, a couple laps fresher tires at the end, so he was able to attack a little bit more. And, yeah, ultimately made the most of the final green flag stint, and no incident cautions. Look at us go.
There you go. Only 8 laps under caution.
No, this was a significantly stronger night than, you know, some of the ones we've had, but hey, everyone did a phenomenal job out there keeping it all in a straight line.
And usually I'm usually during these races I'll be getting into bed by like 12 or 12:30, but geez. Thanks, guys. The recent graduate gets a gift from the heavens.
Yes, it would certainly appear that way, wouldn't it?
But certainly all the drivers got a gift here tonight, except maybe for 2 guys on lap 1. But then Adam Wilson managed to still finish in the top 5 with an incredible wall avoidance, and I suppose you could call it a save, quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, Yeah, he was through the infield, just barely missed tapping anything. And yeah, was able to get it straightened out, like you said. And yeah, turned it into a really good finish.
And so hopefully in about a minute or two here, I can get into the iRacing voice room and discuss tonight's race here, the win for the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian. Again, third win of the season. So that'll put him to the top of the board in the standings, no doubt.
Well, yeah, 3 wins, automatic number 1 seed at this point. No one else has done that.
And am I seeing something odd here in this little spreadsheet that you have between him and Macaulay?
Yeah, because I haven't fully put the full numbers in yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
just had to make
that's
sure.
Why.
Had to make sure just in case.
Yep. I had started it, but then I started typing out the question that I'm going to ask Jordan. Or I'm going to have you ask Jordan on my behalf.
Indeed, I will do that. So let's see if we can get into the room here with tonight's winner. Jordan Kalinian, do we have a copy?
I got you. You got me?
I absolutely got you, man. The number 0 Toyota from Salisbury, North Carolina, Jordan Kalinian, scores the win in the first annual GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 here in Nashville Superspeedway. Kalinian, man, after qualifying 4th, you then go on to be the class of the field, winning both stages. You then go on to win the race itself. Then again, this would be the second time this season where you go on to do a similar thing. We remember your sheer dominance back at Sonoma on the road course, and now you get the job done here on an oval. So just talk about the race overall, how it went for you, and just what all went into just, again, another dominant performance by yourself.
Yeah, it was really fun. The setup was really great this week. It's just a tad loose, and you really able to use the bumps to kind of get the car to do what you wanted. We just was able to get out to the lead there and just manage the tires, and from there it just went pretty smooth. I was really happy there weren't any late race cautions or anything like that to bring some more strategy into it.
And I imagine it must have been a relief to be able to have avoided that carnage there on lap 1, which, again, this race ended up going without any incident-related cautions, despite what we had there on that first lap. But I imagine breathing a little bit of a sigh of relief after what I imagine might have been a bit of a heart attack there.
Definitely. I know I went middle of 3 wide, and I had a car loose below me, a car loose above me, and I wasn't sure what was about to happen. So I was happy to get through that clean and be able to continue the race.
And I imagine you must be happy too with the fact that this whole race went on. Besides the stage cautions, went caution free. We know that we've had the trends in the past couple races and from the past season as well. You know, where first 2 stages will go on just fine, then the final stage things just seem to kind of blow up. But it seems like here tonight we finally had a race where, besides maybe for 2 drivers, everybody was able to make it through, and maybe some issues for a couple of guys, but everyone made it back. That's what matters the most, and you certainly did.
Yeah, it was just a real great job by everybody to keep it clean there.
Jordy has a couple of questions that I'll ask on behalf of him. His first one is, it seems like a key component of having a solid iRacing iRating is being able to adapt to new tracks. What was the biggest component to you being comfortable here at Nashville Superspeedway tonight?
I think just having that little bit more experience with the looser setups, I was able to kind of get the rear to swing out a little bit on the entry, which kind of carried me through the rest of the corner. Looked like a lot of the other guys were maybe getting a little bit tight, burning off the tires a little bit more, but that really helped me there.
For sure, for sure. And considering your first 2 wins on the season and in your career here within the Canadian Motorsports Network and the NASCAR Series, your first 2 wins coming on the road courses at Circuit of the Americas and then at Sonoma. But now you finally come around and you get the win on an oval. Jordy asks how nice it is for you to take a win on an oval, given some of the misfortune that you've had on some of the ovals here during Season 5.
Yeah, definitely. It was great to have a good, clean race and be able to come away with the win. Getting the first 2 wins on the road courses was great, and I consider myself an oval guy, so not having that first oval win was kind of getting me upset. So I'm glad to finally get that one behind me.
For sure, for sure. And now, quite frankly, we're going to be going right back to a road course. It'll be the last road course we do in the regular season, going international to Europe at Monza next Tuesday night on June 4th. Again, being kind of the road course merchant so far this season, how do you look forward to next week, going overseas and trying to continue that road course dominance and perhaps, go try to go 3 for 3?
Definitely looking forward to it. Haven't been there before, but it looks like it's going to be a great track. See some video from other guys doing it, and it looks like they had a blast going through there, so I'm looking forward to it.
And any other thoughts based on with Pocono, Indianapolis, and Rockingham moving forward? We're going to Monza next week, but then we got a couple of tracks there to for the rest of the month to conclude the regular season, where literally anything could happen. Yes, you do have your 3 wins, and you're obviously locked in the playoffs. You've racked up plenty of points throughout this regular season, but what are you hoping for as the regular season comes to an end, and what's it going to take to keep up this momentum?
Well, obviously the goal is just to keep winning, get as many stage points as I can, and see where it goes from there. But I really just hope to keep having fun, and it's been a great year so far. The guys have been great, and just keep going.
For sure. And to conclude this off, is there anybody you want to thank? You want to give some shout-outs to people just for being able to come on out on this Tuesday night and every single Tuesday night and to be able to get the job done?
I just appreciate the league and the sponsors putting this all on. It's been great.
For sure. And that's going to conclude here for tonight's post-race winner interview for the 3rd time this season with the number 0 Toyota of Jordan Kalinian from Salisbury, North Carolina. 3rd win of the season. First one coming on an oval. Circuit of the Americas, Sonoma, and now here in Nashville Superspeedway, the winner of the first annual GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200. Once again, Jordan, congratulations on the win, and we'll see you next week going overseas to Monza on June 4th. Best of luck. Yeah, I suppose what a certain someone is saying behind the scenes there is right. Maybe I do say for sure too many times.
Yeah, it can be, everyone has a broadcasting crutch.
But regardless of anything that happened there, man, oh man, what a race that we had there without any incident-related cautions, of course. Let's now take a look here at the unofficial results of tonight's event. Jordan Kalinian getting the job done in the number 0 Toyota. C.D. Mangrum and Ty Higginbottom, a pair of Tornado Alley E-Racing drivers, will round out the podium. So after winning last week at Iowa, Mangrum's momentum continues with a 2nd place finish here tonight, and just could not match Kalinian, though. Higginbottom in 3rd. William Kern with a hell of a performance here tonight. Finally a solid result after a couple of weeks of unfortunate circumstances at Charlotte and Iowa. His first career top 5 and top 10 finish here in the Canadian Motorsports Network NASCAR Series. Adam Wilson, again, was a little bit involved in that lap 1 fiasco, but comes around to finish 5th. Jared Ireland in 6th, a bit of a roller coaster of a run there. Andy Hurdle 7th, Jose Mercado 8th. Jason Heaney ran fast all race, consistently inside the top 5 and top 10. He finishes inside the top 10. So does Bryce Fountain. Great run out of the number 22 driver from Lovern, Tennessee. Yeah, the home state driver with a top 10 finish. So representing his home state proudly right there. And as we continue through the results here, 11th through 19th, Mason Tomlinson falls just short of a top 10 finish, but solid run. Kyle Knoll finishes in 12th, which again, talking about another certain driver when it comes to that 12th and final playoff spot. Knoll certainly had the better favor right there. Hunter Young, 13th. Mike Marini goes from podium finish to 14th, but able to bring the car home in one piece. So is Tom Janikowski with another top 15 finish. Jason Butler rounds out the lead lap cars in 16th. Ryan O'Toole and Trevor Binns finish one lap down, 17th through 18th. Mark Goulette, 19th, at 2 laps down. And then, man, oh man, a bunch of guys here just with absolutely awful luck. Colleen Sears on lap 1, and then Darcy Ford as the race came to a conclusion there in 20th. Ford definitely had a run going for a potential top 5 or top 10 finish, but then something happened there. He falls 2 laps down, finishes in 20th, so that'll definitely make things interesting in the playoff picture, even though he still is well over the cut line, no doubt will be once the full points come out. And then, of course, Macaulay Sears, 21st and 22nd. But, I mean, hey, it looks like everybody was able to finish the race, which that alone is quite a hell of an accomplishment, along with the 0 incident-related cautions here tonight, Jordy. So that pretty much describes tonight.
Yeah, no DNFs. It's been a little while since we've said that, I think. So, yeah, hard to argue with that. And, yeah, while you were chatting with Jordan, yeah, the playoff picture has changed a little bit, and Knowles actually jumped up to 11th. Now it's Justin Belmonte being the unofficial bubble boy after not competing tonight. So, yeah, still, 4 races left in the regular season. There's still time for things to happen. You still have a couple of guys who are within striking distance if they're able to, again, put together a few solid finishes here between now and the end of Rockingham. So yeah, still a lot to play for. And, again, it felt like, just to go back to the main headline here, Jordan Kalinian was just in an entirely different ballpark at the end of this one, wasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Getting the stage the wins in stage 1 and 2, and then goes on to win the race the second time this season, where he's gone on to sweep everything. We saw it back at Sonoma. I mean, he also led 2 practice sessions as well. And then tonight, I don't know for sure when it comes to practices, but he did qualify 4th, and then just pretty much the class of the field from about like halfway through stage 1 throughout the rest of the race. So again, 3rd win on the season. He becomes he propels himself to the top of the standings now with the 3 wins. There's now going to be a couple guys with 2, a couple guys with 1. So we're going to stick to 7 different winners through 11 rounds now. And with all that being said, of course, moving on with the rest of the schedule here to conclude the regular season, we now enter, it's hard to believe we're now entering the final month before the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs. Time has been flying by.
Absolutely. And one thing that we should note, obviously, with Kalinian getting in, getting win number 3, that means at least one driver will get in on points. So there absolutely will be something to play for there at the bottom of the 12. And, these next 4 rounds were providing, 4 rather insane playgrounds here for them to battle this out.
Well, yeah, we're going overseas to a Formula 1 circuit to start it all off, and then we go to the triangle known as Pocono, and then we go to the Crown Jewel Brickyard at Indianapolis, our first time on the Indy Oval in quite some time, although, of course, there will be some momentum from a couple guys on the open wheel side if we do remember the Indy 250 last year for the IndyCar/Darts series. We remember how that one went, especially with the finish.
Yes, indeed we do. And I mean, Monza, we kind of talked about the unfamiliarity, with Nashville tonight. How about the Temple of Speed in terms of throwing these guys a bit of a curveball, or a curveball grande, shall we say?
Absolutely so. So yeah, Monza, Pocono, Indianapolis, regular season finale at Rockingham. We have a barn burner of a month of June coming up here. 4 races left to go until we begin the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs at Darlington Raceway on July 9th. You will not want to miss any of that action. So next Tuesday night on June 4th, we will head to Autodrome Nacional. Is that how you say it?
Nacional, yeah.
Nacional, sure. Monza, it's the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 120. It'll be round 12 of 22. The third and final road course of the regular season. Then we'll be going to Watkins Glen and Chicago, of course, in the playoffs. But until then, we appreciate everybody for tuning into tonight's live production of Canadian E-Motorsports Network action here on the iRacing platform. Completely blank screen for some reason.
Yeah, I guess
because literally nobody's here.
iRacing wanted to go to bed earlier too. That's weird.
Indeed. I guess we'll just end it off here. But yeah, we appreciate everybody tuning in to tonight's live production. It was round 11 of 22 for Season 5 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue on iRacing. That was the first annual GSGSG Vinyl 3D 200 at Nashville Superspeedway, won by the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian. He'll go for 4 wins on the season at Monza. Next Tuesday night on June 4th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic, live coverage will begin for the Bangarang Hard Seltzer 120 at Monza. So on behalf of Jordy Carraher on the other side, he's been here since the very beginning. He's on the other side of the country in Alberta, Canada. The Canadian Motorsports Network Competition Committee, all other staff, sponsors, and partners involved here within the network. My name is Regan McCauley from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Thank you very much for watching and listening to tonight's event, and we cannot wait to hopefully have you back. You will not want to miss the action that we have ready to go for next week overseas at Monza in Europe on Tuesday, June 4th. See you then here on the YouTube channel. Again, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic. You will not want to miss any of the action as we continue our journey towards the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup playoffs. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. We hope you enjoyed tonight's event at Nashville Superspeedway.